Yeah, welcome back. This is still the Idea Morning Digest. And now we're moving on now to a story, a very sad one, and that happened here in the heart of Nigeria, Abuja, somewhere in Mabuchi, where Mabuchi was thrown into chaos after a tragic accident happened, which involved a family, and also it caused a mob violence. While what began as a fatal coalition quickly turned into a public lynching as angry residents descended on suspected Agberos, popularly known as area boys, accused of causing this particular incident. Eyewitness reports that the Agbero had allegedly forced themselves into a private vehicle, sparkling confusion with a crash rather, with no police presence to contain this particular situation. There was a large and the range of onlookers who set the suspects ablaze, killing them and also burning them on the spot. This particular event has once again highlighted three different troubling realities here in Nigeria's capital, and those are the things we'll be talking about. And the very first one is the unchecked activities of the Agbero and also the absence of law enforcers in critical moments like this, and most importantly, the danger and also that is rising as regards jungle justice as citizens lose faith in due procedure. I mean, it's a really sad one, and I don't understand. I mean, over the last few months now that I've been in Abuja, one of the things that I usually would get from, because most of the times while I'm commuting, sometimes I try to order a private vehicle as taxi, and what they tell me that they can't stop in certain places because of area boys like this, because of Agberos. I mean, one literally cancelled the ride just because of that. And it's really sad to see things like this happen over and over again. And now this one is so bad that it cost the life of a family, a man, his wife, and also his son. That is literally like a generation lost. And it's really sad to see. I do not have honest. I'm not sure. It wasn't in the news if this man actually had more families or more children at home, but to see that a whole family like this is, I mean, the car was basically beyond repair. That was the level of the crash, and it's sad to see. And on the flip side again, already people are angry as regards the activities of all of these Agberos, actually, all of these area boys. And now, after this traffic accident, citizens took law into their matter. And I guess that's where we start about our discussion from, as regards what exactly is it with jungle justice? Why don't we trust the system? Why can't we just catch them and prehend them? And then there's also citizens arrests. You could arrest a citizen as a citizen because he has done bad, and you just arrest him and sit. But you can't cuff him or things like that. But you just ensure that he's there for a while until when the law enforcers come on ground and then pick up this person and take him to enforce the law on him. But why do we have to carry out justice with our own hands?
I think I'll just go back to the roots of this matter. First of all, I just like to say that it is wrong for any right-thinking person to pick a fight with anyone who has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Because you'd be at the dead end. Agberos have nothing to lose. Okay. A lot of people refer to them as NFAs, that's no future ambition. They have nothing to lose. They come to you, they are dragging your steering with you as a man who has a family and his son, a child in the vehicle. What I'd expect you to do is just back. They are demanding for money. It's usually money. And there's no amount that is worth that family's life.
Exactly.
I would have expected that they packed. I know we can't envision how things turn out. Well, the moment somebody who is an Agbero starts dragging your vehicle steering with you, know that those ones are ready to die. Just back. They could have done that and this would have been averted before we start having this whole conversation. And now, the whole family is lost for nothing. Trust me, even if those guys had killed 100 of those Agberos, it doesn't even equate that family. Yes. Those are people who have nothing to lose. Why are you dragging with them? I see sometimes when I'm on the road and you see the way they jump on vehicles, you'd be wondering. So you just know on your own that these ones, they don't care. They know that when they come out, it's either life or death. So they're not interested in They may live, they may not, but however, they must survive. So they already know what it is, what's in for them. And trust me, now you're asking about jungle justice. Why people still practice jungle justice today in Nigeria is because they do not have trust in the system. Many of them do not have trust in the justice system that we claim to have. We've seen results over and over again. Are you talking about the police that when you report somebody who, I mean, we've seen situations where you report your neighbor who stole or who did something. The person gets freed. Somebody who, I saw a thread on Twitter the other day, or X now, where the guy said he had reported his neighbor. They know him as someone who had killed. He was reported. Somehow the guy found his way out. And he knew who reported him. So the first thing he did was he shot the guy on the leg and told him that's just a warning. So the young man went online to, start opening up. So do you expect that kind of person next time, if a situation of such nature arises, to trust
even with the gun on the leg, it's obviously not going to report such an incident.
He can't.
But because he doesn't trust the system. I mean, I've experienced something as such before. There was a time that a friend's neighbor actually beat him up in the house and all of that, and we got to the police. We handed him over to the police basically, and apparently, this person who beat my friend actually knew the police officer. They spoke like colleagues basically, and he paid his way out of that particular incident. And that is, and so when citizens carry out jungle justice, are they at right or wrong? But legally, according to the Penal Code and also the Criminal Code Act, Section 306 down to 316, actually prohibits jungle justice.
Yeah.
It's considered as unlawful killing,
unlawful.
exactly, which amounts to murder or even homicide, or is punishable as well under the law as homicide, and the death with a death penalty actually. But that's just on the side. Our law enforcers, how much do we put them in check and balances? I don't understand that so much over the years now. We've seen so many things, especially on Twitter, with the new police PRO now, Benjamin Odeyi, who has one way or the other bringing all of these people down to books. If you charge the citizens for no reason, you are being brought down to book. If you don't carry out your duty as at how you are meant to do that, you are being brought down to book. And also, even in the real sense, the acts of Agberoism, if there's any word as that, being an Agbero is actually also not constitutionally right, according to the Criminal Code Section 383. It's regarded as stealing and also extortion. Demanding money from drivers and also commuters, it's seen as extortion and also harassment. So you can also be, even meaning that all of these Agberos can actually be picked up by the police and they can be prosecuted. And if they are prosecuted, I mean, if you do that maybe once or twice in a particular vicinity, you wouldn't expect that you come again tomorrow and you meet all of these boys there. Obviously not. I remember a certain time when I was still in Lagos, when President Buhari was come visiting in Lagos. I mean, there was this bus stop that I know that was full with so many Agberos. Like, it's a bus stop that is always very, very busy. And I was driving past and I saw that this place was empty. And then I was to pick a friend there, and then he explained to me that, so because of the arrival of the president, they had to sweep that particular place to ensure that there was nobody there. There was nobody selling anything in that area. There were no boys roaming about in that area. So what that means is that the police actually know their job. They know how to carry out their job. But the issue here is whether or not they are willing to carry out their job, which obviously they are not, because if they are carrying out their job, there will be obviously results. We'll be seeing, probably in the news every day, we'll be seeing news of, so person was picked up, so place and is already being prosecuted, or has been sentenced to jail by so term, and all of that. We should bring all of these people down to book and ensure that everyone is accountable. We can't continue going. In fact, we're still talking about the story of state policing. We have the police already that are not doing their job so much. What's the assurance that when we have the state police, they will also do their job as at when due, carry out the things that they're meant to do, and even bring people down, people like this, to justice. And it might be funny for me to say that even those who actually carry out the jungle justice, they can also be prosecuted under the law.
Yes.
But that's the story for another day.
Actually, I mean, jungle justice is very unlawful. But I was just responding to the fact that people have lost faith in the justice system, and so sometimes they want to take laws into their hands.
Exactly.
Because by the time who is ready to even follow up the case and report that this happened? Who is ready? I think many Nigerians are tired. They've gone beyond that patriotic citizen era. They're just surviving. And so anything that'll make me survive, or anything that'll make sure I do not have problem with the government, no problem. Because we've seen incidents where accidents happen, and the person who's taking the
brunt of it.
Yes, are those who are, decided to help. And when you see things like this, does it encourage you to help people on the road? It doesn't.
I mean, myself and Cynthia were still on this table as well, having a discussion as regards cyberbullying and thereabout. And I told her that if someone, for any reason, says anything to you on social media, you can sue that person to court.
Yeah.
And then she asked the question that, how long will it take for me to go through that process? Because again, it's a very long process. And you have to be
ready to spend.
It's a long process, meaning they are spending a lot at every stage in time. I mean, it's a lot of process. It's a lot of stress on you. In some cases, both even the person that sues you and you that are sued, you get tired and you go out of court to settle at the end of the day. In some cases, sometimes two of you just forget the case and just leave on. In some cases, the parties involved might have even died. So it's really sad to see things like that, because you're talking about cases that span up to 10 years for very simple things. I mean, I was speaking to a lawyer recently, and he mentioned to me in fact that some people are awaiting trial in prison, in jail rather, at the moment, just because they stole a goat or something. They stole maybe tomatoes or something very petty, and they've been there for 3 years, 3 months, and things like that, and they've not even made their first appearances at all. So it's cases like this, and it brings us down to the question of judicial reforms. How well are we reforming all of these things? How well are we ensuring that things are up to speed? I mean, I know that there are a lot of NGOs that are doing so much when it comes to things like this now at the moment, but regardless, how well can we even trust the process? Because we are talking about if for example, they were to take these Agberos boys now to court, it's going to take probably another 1 year or 2 years or 3 years to get justice for this family. And so that's even why people, instead of waiting on that justice, the justice at the end of the day might also be sentenced you to death. Let's do that here at this moment and also sentence you to death. I'm not saying that it's legally right. It's obviously legally wrong. But it just shows how much of decay has entered our justice system.
I totally agree with you. I think we can just look at the way forward. And one of the things I'd like to suggest is that there should be stricter regulation of the Agberos. When you look at how these people are stationed indiscriminately across our city, you just imagine. And then they tell you that they're working for some politician or the other. They just mention some name. So they make returns to somebody.
Exactly.
They actually make returns to somebody. There's somebody they are paying to. They are loyal to.
I'll actually tell you that it's not every time it's not every Agbero that makes returns to somebody. Because I do understand as well that I remember driving in Lagos one time and I just saw some boys at one side, stopping every bike at that point. And then I was driving my uncle then, and he made a statement that in this Lagos, if you have the mind to stand on any road and stop anybody, you can collect money. And it just boils down to the fact on how soft, enforcing this law that we're talking about again is on these people. Because if these laws were enforced already, we won't see cases like that. So in some cases, it's not that they are remitting the money into that. It's a case of probably they don't have a job to do. They were not educated. I mean, in the news today as well was about 80 million unemployed Nigerian youths. Probably they're in that category, and they are not in training, they are not employed, and also they are not in education. What do you expect of them to do?
Either ways, I still think that a strict regulation of the operation will suffice, because they have people. I mean, are you saying that the police don't see them when they drive past, or the government officials don't see them? They of course see them, and so that it is on them to decide, do we want to see this? You made an example of when the president was visiting Lagos and how they were able to clear, so they know what to do. If you go to that Mabushi, it's like a very popular place, and you see them on the moment you park. You just see them jump out and try to, attack you. If you're not ready to give money, then be ready to fight. So I think we need that regulation, and the FCT administration must work with the people of the community to ensure that happens. If you go around Mabushi currently, you're no longer seeing them. They've gone to another place. So until something bad happens, then we learn, we're able to clear it. And that can't always work.
Well, again, another thing again is that we speed up the community policing that we're talking about, that we've been on this discussion for over a year now. Let us actually intensify that. And also, we should also have more public education about how to undo things like this, because jungle justice isn't the best. Again, what can be done instead is citizens arrest this person, and wait till the law enforcers come, and then you hand over this person down to the law enforcers, and then you're good. It's really sad to see all of these things. I mean, I really don't like reading stories like this. I usually will just scroll past it when I see it online. But
the picture is very hard-wrenching to see.
And in fact, the car is so bad. It's somewhere there. It's so bad that if you have to repair such a car now, it's going to be a lot. And it was not just the car that was actually it. There was also a green taxi as well. It's somewhere in the video here as well that was also it because of all of these things. And we need more awareness when it comes to the rule of law. We need more awareness when it comes to education of the Constitution. Most Nigerians do not understand what it means to be a Nigerian. They don't understand their rights. They don't know what is right and what is wrong. They basically live on them, say, oh, this person said that this thing is wrong, so I can't do it, and things like that. But usually, there are provisions at every point. In fact, everything we do, even as we sit here on this table, there are also provisions that back what we do as we sit here on this table.
I totally agree with you. Public awareness on the rule of law is something that cannot be overemphasized. And I think it goes down to the kind of knowledge that we pass down. A lot of people don't even know what their rights are. Exactly. And when we say this thing, people say, oh, go back to the Constitution. The Constitution is large. If it were in my power, I would like that it's summarized to, first of all, in all the languages available in Nigeria, and then made into a small booklet that everybody can access. Yeah. So a child who is even in primary school can already memorize and know what this is, what this section says. Because you cannot teach people. And I mean, we're already battling with a lot of things. Isn't me that's thinking of paying for tax? I'll start looking for what.
Even the tax they were talking about, we don't understand it so much well. Yeah. I mean, I've been trying almost every week or every month to go and just understand what it means to be paying tax, how much tax I'm to be paying, and all of that. And it's each time I go on to read it, I get more confused. So I go back again, and I'm waiting for explanation, actually.
So I think complex things like this are supposed to actually be broken down for the citizens, and that's one thing Nigeria has to do. I appreciate do I really appreciate it? When the passport price was increased, they did like a breakdown. Oh, there's now going to be essential points for the passport to be processed. A lot of things are now going to be automated. But I'm sure that does not explain it for every Nigerian.
Well, it's not just about explaining. It's about the workability of things. What exactly is still in practice now at the moment? Because I feel like what was in practice that is still in practice at the moment, as of today, as I'm sitting down here today. But it's how we're able to implement things like this. I guess implementation is our biggest problem when it comes to Nigeria, actually. Implementation has also a chokehold, and we usually will make policies, we'll make laws, but when it comes to the point of implementation, we really do that, and that's sad.
Well, that's sad. I think that we are wrapping up, so I don't know if you have parting words.
I mean, the parting words should just be that when things like this happen, I feel like we should always, I won't say that we should patronize these persons, but we should also, just like you mentioned, that we have something to lose, and while they don't, they literally put their life on the line at all the time, and we don't do that, and that is why we have to be more responsible with them. In such cases, try to be calm with them. If a law enforcer is around, beckon on such, and tell them what exactly is happening. I mean, usually in places like this, there are usually law enforcers talking about VIU and the likes in that area, but it's really sad to see, and we really don't want to see loss of life of any kind, actually. And when it comes to jungle justice, we all should try to abstain from doing that, because, again, even if it's carried out and your video is there, you're seeing in the video that's one of those that instigated the things like that, you can be sold to court and things and you don't want that. We all want to be law-abiding citizens.
Okay. I mean, people want to be law-abiding citizens for a country that actually rules by law. But what happened in Mabushi, that tragedy was so sad. I think it's a national warning. It's telling us that when governance gap allow informal sectors like Agberos to thrive, and when the law enforcement is too weak to command public trust, then a whole lot can go wrong. And so we need hope.
Exactly.
We need proper security. We need the implementation of all the ideas that we have. And we need to ensure that we follow these regulations strictly. We need community policing. That community now, they need to wake up and decide what can we do about these guys.
Exactly.
And I think more than anything, I'm hoping that the FCT minister does something about it. I mean, he started rolling out plans to, curb One Chance and Agberos and some of those, how do they call those houses now that they just construct at some places?
Okay, the batches.
Those batches, yes. So he's tried to clamp down some of them because he realized that hidden in there were guns, were robbers. They're
basically orbs of several things or several illegal activities, and so he had to clamp them down at the end of the day.
So we are hoping to see that clampdown continues, and it should extend to Agberos. They are becoming a menace in this city and even beyond Abuja.